Hello, and welcome back to Senior Wise Journey, the channel where we celebrate the wisdom that only time can bring. For most of our lives, we've been told a simple truth: friends are the family we choose. We've been encouraged to build vast social networks, to fill our calendars, and to believe that a life rich in relationships is a life well lived. But what if I told you that one of the greatest gifts of growing older, particularly as you cross the threshold into your 70s and beyond, is the permission to lovingly, peacefully, and wisely let that belief go? This isn't a conversation about loneliness, far from it. This is a celebration of independence, a declaration of selfhood, and an exploration into a profound truth. After 70, your happiness no longer depends on the quantity of your connections, but on the quality of your own company. Today, we're going to explore 6 powerful reasons why you don't need a large circle of friends to live your most fulfilling, peaceful, and joyful life yet. Stay with me, because what we're about to discuss isn't just liberating, it's a new blueprint for happiness in your golden years. Part 1. The end of the audition, no longer proving your worth. Think of your life as a long and storied career. In your 20s and 30s, you were the eager intern, hustling to make connections, to be seen, to be liked. You networked at parties, you joined clubs, you carefully curated your social life to build a foundation for your future. The 40s and 50s were your executive years, a time of solidifying your status, of hosting the right dinner parties, of maintaining friendships with colleagues and neighbors, not just for pleasure, but for position. It was a constant, low-grade performance. You were always, in a sense, auditioning. You were proving you were a good parent, a successful professional, a valuable member of the community. Your friendships were often part of your resume. But now, in your 70s, the audition is over. The curtain has fallen on the performance of a lifetime. You've already built your legacy. Your children are grown, your career is a closed chapter, and your home is your own. The relentless pressure to fit in, to keep up, to be validated by a chorus of acquaintances has finally dissolved. And in its place is a quiet, powerful freedom. You no longer need a friend to tell you that you're smart, successful, or interesting. You've spent 70 years gathering the evidence yourself. Consider Arthur, a 78-year-old retired architect. For decades, his life revolved around industry events, charity galas, and weekend golf with clients. He called hundreds of people friend, but he now admits most of them were just co-stars in his professional play. When he retired, the phone calls dwindled, the invitations stopped. At first, a pang of irrelevance hit him, but then, as he sat in his workshop, carving a piece of wood, he had an epiphany. He wasn't being rejected, he was being released. He no longer had to laugh at jokes he didn't find funny or feign interest in conversations that bored him. He was no longer Arthur the architect. He was just Arthur. And Arthur found immense joy in the grain of the wood, the hum of his tools, and the silence of a job well done for no one's approval but his own. This is the gift you've earned. The energy once spent on social upkeep can now be reinvested into your own soul. You are the CEO of your own life now, and you answer only to your own board of directors, your heart, your mind, and your spirit. Letting go of friendships built on the shaky ground of social validation isn't a loss, it's a graduation. You've earned your diploma in life. You don't need to impress the student body anymore.
Part 2. The currency of quiet. Why peace outweighs parties. In our youth, we seek noise, the loud music of a party, the chatter of a crowded restaurant, the constant hum of conversation. It all signifies life, energy, and belonging. We fill every empty space with sound because silence can feel like a void. But as we age, a remarkable alchemy occurs. The noise that once energized us now often drains us, and silence transforms from a void into a sanctuary. The most valuable currency in your 70s isn't money or status, it's peace. Every friendship, no matter how cherished, comes with an energy cost. There's the obligation to pick up the phone, even when you're engrossed in a good book. There's the pressure to accept a lunch invitation when you'd rather be gardening. There's the subtle emotional labor of listening to the same complaints, navigating group dynamics, or mediating old disagreements. It's the social fatigue that creeps in. It's not that you don't care about people, it's that you've become a fierce guardian of your own tranquility. Let's talk about Margaret, 74, who for years was the anchor of her social group. Her phone was a revolving door of calls from friends detailing their family dramas, health worries, and neighborhood gossip. She was a wonderful listener, a patient confidant. But one afternoon, after an hour-long call, dissecting a friend's argument with their daughter-in-law for the 10th time, Margaret hung up and felt utterly depleted. The joy of connection had been replaced by the burden of emotional maintenance. She made a quiet resolution. She started letting calls go to voicemail, responding with a simple, kind text later. She began declining invitations with a polite, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm going to enjoy a quiet day at home." She wasn't being unkind, she was being honest about her needs. The time she reclaimed was astonishing. She filled it with things that replenished her spirit, listening to classical music, trying new recipes, and simply sitting on her porch, watching the birds without the need to narrate the experience for anyone. She discovered that this solitude wasn't empty. It was full. It was full of peace. Choosing peace over social obligation is not an antisocial act. It's a profoundly pro-self act. It's recognizing that your inner world deserves as much attention and care as your outer world. In your 70s, you've earned the right to trade the clamor of the crowd for the calm of your own company. You're not withdrawing from life. You're drawing from a deeper, quieter well of fulfillment.
Part 3. The immunity to disappointment. Curating a heartbreak-proof life. One of life's most painful lessons, often learned through a lifetime of small cuts, is that friendships are not always a two-way street. Think of the cumulative weight of decades of disappointments. The friend who wasn't there during a crisis, the birthday call you made that wasn't returned, the countless times you were the one to initiate contact, to make the plans, to bridge the distance, only to be met with lukewarm effort. Each instance may be small, but together they create a heavy burden of resentment and frustration. By the time you reach your 70s, you have a PhD in human nature. You can spot a one-sided relationship from a mile away, and you finally have the wisdom and the right to say no more. Reducing your social circle isn't just about saving time. It's a strategic act of emotional self-preservation. It's about building an immunity to the casual heartbreak that comes from unmet expectations. You're not becoming cynical. You're becoming wise. You're curating your life for joy, and that means editing out the sources of recurring disappointment. William, at 78, used to pride himself on maintaining friendships that spanned 50 years. He'd send cards for every occasion and make cross-country calls, sharing his life and asking about theirs. But over the last decade, he noticed a pattern. His calls were often rushed. His detailed letters were met with brief, impersonal emails. When his wife passed away, some of these lifelong friends sent a sympathy card and were never heard from again. The sting was sharp and profound. For a year, he felt a bitter sense of loss, but then his perspective shifted. He wasn't losing friends, he was shedding illusions. The effort he had been pouring into these relationships was like watering plastic plants. So, he stopped. He didn't make a grand announcement, he simply redirected his energy. He focused on his twice-weekly chess game with his neighbor, a quiet man with whom he shared a comfortable silence and mutual respect. He deepened his bond with his daughter, having long, meaningful conversations he never had time for before. He adopted a dog from a local shelter and found a source of unconditional love and companionship that put his old friendships to shame. By letting go of the expectation that people should reciprocate, you free yourself from the power they have to disappoint you. You begin to operate from a place of strength, investing your precious emotional energy only in connections that are mutual, effortless, and genuinely enriching. This isn't about building walls around your heart. It's about installing a gate and giving the key only to those who have proven they know how to cherish it.
Part 4. The golden hour of time, becoming the master of your moments. If a day were a lifetime, your 70s and 80s would be the golden hour, that magical time just before sunset when the light is warm, the shadows are long, and every moment feels precious and infused with beauty. In your youth, time felt infinite, like a boundless checking account you could draw from carelessly. You could kill time, waste time, and spend hours on social engagements that brought you little joy, assuming there would always be more. Now, you know the truth. Time is your most finite and valuable asset. Every hour is a gift, and how you spend it is the most important decision you make each day. Friendships, even pleasant ones, are time-intensive. Consider the logistics, the planning, the travel, the 2-hour lunch, the recovery from the social exertion afterward. A single social commitment can consume an entire afternoon. Now multiply that by a large circle of friends, and you'll find your most precious resource being allocated to maintaining a schedule rather than enriching your soul. At this stage, you have every right to conduct a ruthless audit of your temporal investments. You must ask, is this friendship yielding a return in joy? Or is it just a habit that's costing me my golden hours? Richard, an 82-year-old former professor, did this exact audit. He mapped out his week and realized that nearly 10 hours were dedicated to friendship maintenance, obligatory phone calls, a weekly coffee club that had devolved into a complaint session, and lunches with former colleagues. He was an avid history buff and had always dreamed of writing a book about his town's local history. But he was always too busy. He made a courageous choice. He politely excused himself from the coffee club. He started letting his obligatory calls be less frequent. He used the reclaimed 10 hours a week to go to the local library, pore over archives, and interview other longtime residents. Within 6 months, he wasn't just happier, he was energized, alive with purpose. He was no longer just passing time, he was filling it with passion. He discovered that the companionship of historical figures and the thrill of discovery were far more fulfilling than the tired conversations he had left behind. He was finally the master of his moments. This is the power available to you. By letting go of friendships that are merely time fillers, you create the space to finally do the things you've always wanted to do. Learn that instrument,
Plant that ambitious garden. Write your memoirs. Take that online course in philosophy. Your time is no longer a dress rehearsal. It is the main event. You've earned the right to give every moment a standing ovation. And that means being fiercely protective of how you spend them.
Part 5. The Ultimate Companion. Discovering the richness of your own company. There is a profound and often misunderstood difference between being alone and being lonely. Society teaches us to fear the former, believing it inevitably leads to the latter. We're conditioned to think that happiness is found in the reflection of another's eyes, that our thoughts are only valid once they are spoken to a friend. But one of the most beautiful discoveries of later life is that the most interesting, wisest, and most compassionate person you will ever know has been with you all along. Yourself. For 70 years, you have been in a relationship with your own mind, your own heart, your own memories. You have been the silent witness to your every triumph and your every trial. You contain a library of experiences, stories, and insights that no one else can ever fully access. Cultivating a friendship with this person, with yourself, is the key to unlocking a level of contentment that is unshakable, because it doesn't depend on anyone else showing up. This isn't about navel-gazing. It's an active, engaged practice. It's taking yourself on a date to a museum or a concert without the need for someone else's commentary. It's sitting with a cup of tea and your own thoughts and treating them with the same respect and curiosity you would offer a dear friend. It's about learning to enjoy the rhythm of your own life. Eleanor, 76, discovered this after her husband passed. For the first year, she filled her days with frantic activity, terrified of the silence in her home. She joined clubs, volunteered for everything, and accepted every invitation. She was surrounded by people, yet she felt achingly lonely. One day, exhausted, she canceled all her plans. She stayed home, and for the first time, simply was. She listened to her favorite music from her youth. She looked through old photo albums, not with sadness, but with a gentle appreciation for the woman in the pictures and all she had lived through. She cooked herself a beautiful meal, set the table for one, and savored every bite. It was a revelation. She realized she wasn't lonely. She had just been neglecting her own company. When you become your own best friend, you are never truly alone. You carry your companion with you everywhere. This self-reliance radiates a quiet confidence that, paradoxically, makes you more attractive to others. The friendships you do choose to maintain become better because they are no longer based on neediness. You don't need a friend to save you from solitude. You invite them to share in your rich, peaceful, and already complete world. This is the ultimate freedom. To find that the home you were always searching for in others was inside you all along.
Part 6. The Great Liberation. The Joy of Letting Go. Letting go. The phrase itself can sound like a loss, a surrender. But in the context of your later years, it is the exact opposite. It is an act of immense power, a declaration of freedom. Letting go of friendships that have run their course is not about slamming a door on your past. It's about opening a window to a more authentic and fulfilling present. It's the final, most important step in curating a life that is truly your own. It is the great liberation. For decades, many of our social connections are held together by the glue of should. I should call her, it's been a month. I should go to this party, even if I'm tired. I should maintain this friendship, we've known each other forever. This sense of duty can become a cage, gilded with pleasant memories, but a cage nonetheless. It keeps us performing a version of ourselves that we have outgrown, tethered to relationships that no longer reflect who we are today. The act of letting go is the recognition that your happiness is no longer contingent on fulfilling these shoulds. Your only obligation is to your own well-being. Think of it as spring cleaning for your soul. You look at each friendship and ask not, how long have I had this, but rather, does this bring me joy, peace, and energy today? If the answer is no, you have earned the permission to gently and without guilt place it in the box to be let go. James, a 79-year-old man, described this process as setting his old friends free. He had a handful of friendships that had become routines of complaint and negativity. The calls left him feeling drained and pessimistic. For years, he felt it was his duty to listen. But after much reflection, he realized this duty was a disservice to himself. He didn't have a dramatic falling out. He simply stopped being as available. He let the connections fade naturally, without drama or explanation. The space that opened up in his life was profound. It wasn't an empty void, it was a fertile field. He started a small container garden on his balcony, and the quiet, focused work of nurturing life brought him a sense of peace he hadn't felt in years. He felt lighter, as if he had set down a heavy backpack he didn't even realize he was carrying. He had let go of the obligation to manage others' happiness, and in doing so, had finally taken full ownership of his own. This is the ultimate gift you can give yourself after 70. The release from social expectation, the freedom from relationships held out of habit, and the joy of a life lived in alignment with your deepest, most authentic self. It isn't about ending things, it's about beginning again on your own terms.
As we come to a close, let's be clear. This has not been a crusade against friendship. It has been a declaration of independence for you. The journey through your 70s, 80s, and beyond is a sacred time of recalibration. It's about shifting your focus from the external world of social obligations to the rich, internal landscape of your own spirit. It's about understanding that peace is a priority, time is a treasure, and your own company is a gift. The true connections, the ones built on mutual respect, effortless joy, and shared peace, will remain, and will be all the more precious for it. What part of this journey resonated with you the most? Was it the idea of ending the lifelong audition, or the value of reclaiming your time? Perhaps you've already discovered the profound peace of your own company. We would be honored to hear your wisdom. Please, share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story is a vital part of our community. If this message affirmed the path you are on or gave you the courage to forge a new one, please help us share it. Like this video, subscribe to Senior Wise Journey for more honest conversations about our golden years, and share it with someone who might need permission to finally put themselves first. Thank you for walking with us on this journey. We'll see you in the next video.